angles that are flat, diagonal, upward, or downward. There are angles that thrust to every different part of the body. What we do is try to cover as much of the body as possible so that it's easy for us to adapt to an opponent. The strange thing about martial arts and fighting never is like training. So what we try to do is train enough variables so that we can adapt to what a fight would be like. Most people who are willing to fight don't actually train, so they train or they fight in the way that we have to be able to adapt to an unorthodox attack. So once they learn their basic angles of attack, this particular style of Eskrima, which is a single stick style or single sword style, they learn basic defenses. So they're going to randomly do that, show them as slowly as possible, so that you guys can see it. That means the person isn't going to hit you, you should just hit them. Don't bother defending. So this is very tame. We use this for warm-up as well as just learning how to develop basic defense with regards to how a stick or a sword or more practically a beer bottle or a tire iron or somebody's baseball bat might come at us. Weapons are very common used in street fights, so we want to be prepared for those things. So this is the 7th angle of attack that they're working on right now. We move off all the way to the 12th angle. The 8th angle is utilized for beheading strikes or strikes directly towards the face. The 9th strike is a kneecap, an upward strike. Typically speaking, in classical Filipino martial arts, we use diagonal strikes. If the strikes are shown as flat, non-classical or modern style, that specializes only in stick. The Inayan system of Eskrima is a classical or old school system, so we specialize in strikes that are both applicable for stick, sword, and knife. That's the 11th angle of attack. And finally, after this, Matt will show us how he feeds a 12th angle, which is a simultaneous attack symbolically to the neck, but it could be anywhere. A set of skills. Very nice. Then you will learn a reflex exercise called lock and block. Now, Matt doesn't actually know what's going to be struck at him. He just knows that there's only so much of him to defend, so he has to do it randomly. There's very little warning for the strikes. Right now they're going at a beginner's pace, which we call level 1 or exercise lock and block. You'll notice that stick and knife are utilized for the attacker. Once you guys go ahead and circle so they can see different perspectives. Good. So again, we're working footwork, we're working distance. In order for Matt to be able to utilize his techniques, or now in this case Lauren, he has to maintain both facing and distance. This is an interactive form of training martial arts. We don't do very many forms. We mostly do interactive stuff. And very good. Just kidding, we need to be able to give and take. So this is called flow spar. Sarada is typified by being very static. They stay very close together. They don't move far apart. They stay in the worst possible place, which is always in range of the opponent. Some styles specialize in moving away, which we'll demonstrate later. This particular style is very good at staying in harm's way and surviving. If you can survive here, the thought is, according to my father, who was my teacher, you can survive anywhere. Now again, we practice with sticks because the injuries are less severe than if we were practicing with machetes or bolos, Chris, Campilan, those kinds of things. Although Lauren has been with me long enough to now that he's been practicing with machetes lately. We don't recommend that you do that though. Okay. Alright, stop.
Alright, so this is the same. This is a flow spar. This is random counters. Both of them are taking turns. It's a 1-for-1. One will attack while one will defend. And most of the time it gets faster and faster as we go along.
It's a basic drill to develop flow. They'll be using straight punches, back fists, and elbows as they circle. We use our drills to develop flow so that we can reply to an opponent both in defense and attack easily and smoothly. Fights should not be rigid because you'll be slow, so we don't train to be rigid either. There's a number of countering techniques that they learn, flow drills that they learn, but this is just one. We like to show this one because it shows both straight punches, elbow attacks, and back fists. Alright, good stop. This is called lock flow 1. So they'll go in and out of different kinds of locks. wrenching the shoulders, the elbows, elbows again, wrist, wrist, wrenching the shoulder and kneeing, wrenching the shoulder, and a sweep and an escape from the sweep. So this is the basics for our hand-to-hand. We do much more. This is just a little tiny piece of what we like to do in the Inayan system of Eskrima. So when you train with us, we work on basic self-defense, and then we work on things that are a little bit more complex, that are applicable for martial arts competition as well as basic self-defense. Our demo flow, very good stuff. It shows basically the same things that you saw earlier. The difference is we're going to do it all in one fluid piece. So they're working long range, evasive or elusive maneuvering. They move into a flanking and circling medium range style where there's more blocking and hitting. Then they'll eventually move into the static sirada where they don't move as much and they stay in one place for the most part. Somebody will be clever and try to disarm. We'll see how that works. There it is. And another disarm. Good. And back into hands. And the locks that we do actually finish in takedowns. So.